Hello and welcome to episode 3 of Drone Racing News, your monthly digest on the topics, issues and stories that are at the heart of the drone racing community. I'm Timmy and with me is Bear to bring you another serving of what you all love. Tonight our stories cover the expansion of competitors from the Australian Drone Nationals from 72 to 96, a look back on the finals of the Australian Drone Nationals in 2022, and an interview with a pilot that we've not seen or heard from in a number of years.
And our Bugbears topic this month will see us tackle the controversial practice of reviewing and changing race results after an event has ended. But first, we've got more issues to resolve over in the naughty corner. That's right, welcome to Corrections Corner, where we address the inaccuracies, fabrications, and outright lies identified by you, our viewers. First up tonight, we address an error in last week's Correction Corner. Last week we stated we were incorrect to report that aeroplane jelly only started flying in January of this year. Well, that correction is in fact incorrect, and we were, in fact, correct the first time, and we were advised by none other than Aeroplane Jelly herself. So, it is now official. Aeroplane Jelly only started flying in January of this year and has made the Australian FAI team. I think it's fair to say that we won't be getting this one wrong again. We here at the Drone Racing News understand that this incorrect correction was provided to us by Super Dizzy Die in an attempt to hide the fact that she was beaten by a noob. If you feel that any reports from the Drone Racing News are unfactual, please leave a comment below. Just make sure that you're correct. We are professionals here after all. Now, let's crack on to the news. Our first story for tonight is a topic that's been on the tongues of all Aussie racers, extending the pilot cap from 72 to 96 5-inch racing. Nationals fever continues to heat up in Australia as we fast approach the big event. Demand to attend this event was huge, with the majority of the top 72 accepting their nomination. The overwhelming demand for pilots to compete forced the hand of the AUFPB to increase the pilot cap from 72 to 96 in what will now be Australia's largest drone nationals since 2019.
Now, Tim, you've witnessed the total number of competitors for nationals change several times. What's your take on this?
Oh, look, in the first few, it was 64 pilots and the elimination brackets were 32, and it was only 4 flying up, and it was heaps slower. I mean, you probably got 4, 5, 6 qualifying rounds throughout the entire event. Now, you're getting 10 to 12, even with 72 and 96. I think it's heaps.
Right, but by adding more pilots to the roster, are we devaluing the event and robbing faster pilots of more qualifying rounds?
Oh, look, I mean, maybe slightly. I mean, it does happen to a small degree, but in the scheme of things, we're talking about 1, 2 qualifying rounds. I don't feel it's a big deal.
Right, but I'm still trying to understand the math of the situation. We've gone to 96 pilots over 3 days, yet last year we had 72 pilots over 4 days. Is there enough time to get everything in?
Yeah, I mean, look, this year we're night flying across all 3 of the days. There's no freestyle, so there's some extra time made up from there. And the schedule is 12 hours a day. It can be done. It can be done.
Fair enough. But as I understand it, Tim, every pilot who registered a time on the leaderboard was invited to attend Drone Nationals this year, including Ed the Quokka.
Look, if a plush toy can get an invite to Nationals, well, I suppose that is a sign that we've gone too far. But look, up until recently, there was, we had a full 96 player roster, but a certain event in the UK took some notable Nationals competitors away. There's growing interest in the sport again, and I think it's important for, everyone who would go to Nationals to get a taste of that sweet experience.
Fair enough, Tim. So are the Australian Drone Nationals a competition for the elite to find the best racer in the country? Or is it now merely a participation award where any goon can have a fly? Tell us what you think by leaving a comment down below.
As the sport of drone racing reaches its 10th year anniversary, it's fair to say it's touched the lives of many people around the world. In that time, many key players in the community from the early years have faded away from the sport. As someone who's been around since the very beginning, this means that fewer people are able to respond when I ask them, "Hey, do you remember that guy?" This new segment aims to track down some of those key players, reflect on their impact or contribution to the sport, and attempt to educate some of the newer members of the community of the contributions made by those before them. This segment has been aptly named, Where Are They Now? Our first guest for the Where Are They Now segment is none other than a special Australian pilot who is the only other person in the world to hold a first place trophy for 5-inch racing at any Australian Drone Nationals event. What I call one of the early first that I saw on the scene of the sim generation, pilots who basically came flying and winning races out of nowhere with very little real world experience, but mostly based from the sim. He's none other than Newcastle's own Daniel Eyre, best known as FPR Dan. Is that right?
Yeah, correct. We got it.
Thanks for joining us, Dan. It's the first guest on this segment. It's lovely to have you here.
Yeah, no, thank you. It's happy to be here.
Let's first tackle that name, FPR Dan. Now, a lot of pilots these days, they all use FPV, and that would be the natural assumption there. So how did you arrive to your call sign?
Yeah, it was it's a pretty short story, but everyone was using FPV and I wanted to be different. So we made a team, FPR, which stands for First Person Racing. And there were 2 of us, but I was the only one that kept going. So I just stuck with it.
Oh, so that's the only one in the team left to keep going on after the beginning.
Yeah, 1 or 2, but yeah, it confused the hell out of everyone.
Yeah,
my entire racing career.
I bet I'm not the first. So
Yeah.
Firstly, let's go back to the origins of the story. Take us back in time to when you first got into FPV and how you did it. What year were we going back to?
Yeah, geez, I had to think long and hard about where we are now. I think we're 7 years ago, about 2017. I think it was around June. I picked up sim racing for the first time. So I believe it started. I just come out of uni. I was looking for a new hobby, and my older brother sent me a video of the Drone Racing League. I think it was a video of the Gates of Hell where they were flying through that kind of old. It was like a power station on the water, and it just was all retro, old and cool, lights everywhere. And I just thought, yeah, this is something a bit different, and I want to get into that.
And so is this the real Drone Racing League, like actual racing that they did? You mean the first series TV show?
Yeah, I think it was way back when they had the Racer 2. It was like a rectangle box looking thing, and it just flew like a brick. And so yeah, from that I think I found the sim on Steam and downloaded it, and I think I flew with my keyboard for the first few runs, and was absolutely shocking, and just kind of got hooked from that point.
What it was the DRL sim then? So was there Velocidrone then? As well?
No, so I hadn't come across Velocidrone. Maybe it was around, but I didn't really know much about it. It's definitely DRL I started in, and then I probably picked up Rotor Rush. It might have been next.
Oh yeah, I remember that name too. Yeah, so there's a lot more choice these days, I think, and I think Velocidrone's become the dominant one for that multiplayer stuff.
Yeah, I definitely think I'd go Velocidrone if I was picking any sim now.
And when so the sim part is obviously very key, because as I said during the intro, like, you're one of the first to come out in the local club racing scene, and we've covered that. But when did you first start racing at? I think it was Newcastle FPV.
Yeah, that was my home club. So can't think of how long. Maybe three to 6 months in of doing sims, I kind of mustered up the courage to go and do some real life races. What drone did I fly? I think it was Stu's UAV from UAV Futures, that $99 build. Okay. Yeah, that was my first thing I put together. I think it took me about 8 hours to build, which I think normal people could build it in half an hour nowadays. And yeah, I just kind of put it together, went out in the backyard, chucked some goggles on, went to fly, and the screen went black. And that was kind of my first intro to a real drone. And I just was like, no, I'm going to end up getting here. I'm going to make a race at the club at least. So yeah, I showed up to Newcastle FPV. I went in a rookie class race and I got stomped. I remember this father and his son just kept lapping me over and over and over. And I was like, this is fun, but yeah, it was a bit of a hit to kind of where I thought I was compared to
okay. So you thought you were more prepared from the simming, and it was a bit of a reality check that
yeah,
there's a few more
I thought I was
things to
going to do a
learn.
lap, and I got about a quarter of the way through the track, I reckon, before I totaled my drone.
You know what? That's reassuring to a lot of people too. I reckon to hear that, like even like someone who's like won a nationals like that has struggled in the first race as well, because that's quite often what we see in our club as well. You know, someone will be rubbish the first time, but then you'll see them improve every race day and progressing more, finishing laps, and then winning races as well is what it comes down to.
Yeah.
So let's talk big events. Was the 2018 Drone Nationals your first big event?
Yeah. So that was the first big drone event that I'd done as well. So yeah, kind of from that rookie race, I progressed up through like pilot class into pro class, and it was probably only 4 weeks before Nats, that 2018 Nats, that I'd won my first pro class race as well. So I was pretty lucky. It all kind of came together at the right time for me.
Yeah, really. So you're only a month before nationals. You basically won your first race in what would be A division pro class in your local club.
Yeah, so I was kind of bouncing between. I think it was Northern Beaches crew down in Sydney, bit of roller coasters on Gosford, and then Newcastle FPV up in Newcastle. But yeah, I hadn't really won a race until then. I think it was the Northern Beaches crew. I think I got my first win there. I was racing with Bones and all those guys.
Well, I'm pleased to tell you Bones is still flying. He's still in the scene.
Yeah. So I kind of got to thank him for that too. He really gave me a place to train and practice, and just even kind of placing there just gave me a bit more confidence going into Nats.
Oh, that's brilliant. So, what did it feel like to win nationals?
It was crazy. I still think it's one of the best things I've ever done in my life. I can still remember like crossing that line and just still not believing it. And I think I ripped off my goggles, chucked my remote across the field when we were in Fremantle on the AFL Oval. And I think it was Jack from Newcastle was there and tipped mission chips all over me. I was just running around in hysterics. I brought my father over who just retired, and he didn't know anything about drones, and thought we were just going for fun. And then when he saw we won, he like broke down and hugged me.
That's surreal.
And it was just like absolutely chaotic after that win.
So one thing at that event for me that I really remember about you in particular was that the live chat, the live stream chat. I've never seen it before in any event since then, but there was a lot of activity in there just for you. And in particular, there was a whole bunch of random people spamming this ASCII character saying, FPR Dan, take my energy. I got to know, do you know those people? Is this a thing that had happened before? Is like, where does this come from? Because it still confuses me 6 years on.
Yeah, actually, I didn't even know it was going on at the time, and it wasn't until someone pointed out to me and made me go back and watch it. I was like, where the hell did all these people come from? So I did figure it out about a few months later. I have a good friend, Andy, and before Nats, I did go to DRL tryouts, so that might have been the first event actually, thinking back.
Okay.
But he was watching me there, and so he kind of tuned in for the Drone Nationals. He lives in Newcastle, but yeah, he kind of watched it, got excited that I was in another event, and he posted it everywhere on the internet. I think he posted on Reddit, just every random forum he could find, and people just kind of hooked onto it and got really involved.
Oh, so we have Andy to thank for starting a movement.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he did the first ASCII code, and then all the rest just popped up from there. And it was like FPR Dan best in the land or something like that.
It kept going, yeah, like a snowball, man, down a hill. It just kept getting bigger and bigger. Well, I guess that does solve most of the mystery there. So after that, obviously, that catapulted you to a few other big events. I can remember one in 2019 that we overlapped our time with. But what other big events did you do in your career right after you won nationals in 2018?
Yeah, so I definitely think nationals was that turning point, what really kicked it off for me. I think I came in from nationals, I was kind of thinking, what am I going to do? And it might have been a month or two after, I just went to the door and there was a giant box out the front. And I was like, what the hell is this? And opened it, and it was a letter from the Drone Champions League in Europe. They basically said, we saw you race at the Australian Nationals and we want you to come try out for us in Nice, France. And they basically said, yeah, we're holding tryouts in maybe 3 months. We want you there.
That's surreal. And so you
Yeah.
packed your bags and you went overseas and followed
Yeah,
the
so that
journey.
was about 200 pilots, and I ended up topping the list there and got into one of the pro teams. And I think from then on, it was every month I was doing a big event overseas.
So just always on
Yeah, definitely. I
planes.
think I'd never been out of Australia before that, except for that DRL tryout. So I think I went to 13 countries in 2019.
So what a whirlwind that followed right after that, during the what you'd probably say the peak of the racing seasons and stuff, right? Because
Yeah, it was nuts. It was kind of like every time I got home, I was just getting a new invite to something else, and like accommodation, flights, everything paid. And I'm like, yep, I'm there. Just give me a ticket.
I can definitely think of a few people who are competing at nationals this year that would sort of like to live that lifestyle. So hopefully
It's a
this will be some
whirlwind.
sort of a sprinkling of a carrot on a stick to them.
Yeah.
So I guess let's fast forward now to what happened. When did it all come undone, I suppose, or what got you out of it? Was there a single bad moment, or was it just the exhaustion of travel that you just wanted to go home and chill?
Yeah, I really think it was probably the pandemic that hit the hardest for me. So as soon as those flights stopped, I couldn't really get out and overseas, and that was really where I wanted to be, up in that kind of pro scene, traveling, really kind of training and being in a league. And yeah, we just couldn't get out of the country. So from there, I also work in healthcare, so I was kind of committed and stuck, like working a lot during COVID as well. So yeah, it was just kind of a perfect storm of things that just knocked me out of the scene.
Oh yeah, put you in a very different space where you then had to work under your, I suppose, your medical career, right? And yeah, change
Yeah.
pathways for the good of the world or something, you'd say.
Yeah, I kind of had to toss up the good good of that too. And as hard as it was yeah, probably the right time to kind of pack it up for me. But good part is it probably opens the door for a lot of other people.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's always people coming in and going and changing and that sort of stuff. Yeah. Do you still have your drones?
I do. Most of them, I got rid of my batteries because I'm a bit, a bit kind of paranoid
They're
about
consumables. You'd get
Wi-Fi
new ones
flies.
anyway. You know.
Yeah, no, I've still definitely got the drones there. It's kind of like one battery away from getting out and flying again.
Maybe just a good weather day and maybe a new local club gathering. I think in your scene, I don't think Newcastle has been flying much anymore. So
Yeah, we kind of, I think they relocated, but I'm not quite sure how active they are now. There's always people posting that they want to get into it, but yeah, not sure kind of where they're at the moment.
I think your closest flying active companion now would be Salad. I think old Dallas out at
Yeah.
Singleton. So if you get the urge, hit him up and start it up again. I'm sure if you build it, they will come.
Yeah, I absolutely love Sar. I don't think he's ever going to stop racing.
And I think the final question I want to ask, because this is like just topical, and then we discussed it a bit earlier. You saw the news, right, with Thomas Bitmatter saying that he's not competing in the Nationals this year.
Yeah.
What would your message be to any of the other young pilots out there who are, vying for that #1 Cup trophy? What sort of advice can you give them? Because it's fair to say no one else has won it for years, and people have come very close in recent years. So, what would you like to bestow upon the next person, hoping that your advice might get them the win?
Yeah, geez, that's a tough one too. I think first I'd also like to announce that I won't be attending the nationals
Oh,
this
rest
year.
assured, everyone. Rest assured.
Just to reassure people. But no, I think just really training and putting in the hours, and you kind of get there and almost know that you're going to do well. You can feel it as soon as you get in there, and so yeah, it's really kind of maybe having a bit of a strategy. I know my year, I wasn't trying to come first. I was trying to come second in each race to just get to the end and put myself in a position to win. And yeah, sometimes you just need a luck and everything will come together for you. But yeah, it's not necessarily going to be the fastest person there. You need a lot of things to go right. So it really can be anyone.
Oh, you very well said. Yeah, it can be anyone. There's a lot of things that you've got to align to win. It's not just about being the fastest. It's about being the calmest. Keeping your nerves in there. Yeah, so many things got to go right for you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hopefully you get to check out some of the stream, and maybe you can bring some of that energy to the chat.
Yeah.
like we had
we're bringing the ASCII codes this year.
That would be amazing, Dan. Thanks so much for your time in the chat on Where Are They Now? And we hope to see you flying once again one day and make your resurgence, because I think that'll send waves through the community.
Yeah, brilliant, Timmy. Thanks for having me.
No worries.
I'm here at the site of Australian drone racing's most controversial finishes ever. A finish so fiercely debated that everyone that saw it on the day has their own interpretation of the events that occurred. I'm talking about the final to the Australian Drone Nationals 2022. Let me set the scene for you. Two absolute titans of the sport are in head-to-head battle. BMS Thomas, the reigning champion for the past 3 years, and IQ Zero, his teammate from Eastside FBV and Australian FII teammate.
This is where it really gets intense. IQ Zero and BMS Thomas, one of the storylines we're going to follow right there. IQ Zero got in front of BMS Thomas. BMS Thomas not used to someone in front of him. Your leader is IQ Zero, looking for 2 wins, and what a great statement right here. As
in the first Chase the Ace finals, IQ Zero took the victory. However, in the second, an error from IQ Zero allowed BMS Thomas to take the win in the second race. It all came down to the third race. Would IQ Zero win and take victory for the first time, or will BMS Thomas add to his series of victories in the Australian Drone Nationals? It all came down to the third race. In the first lap, BMS Thomas led IQ Zero by less than half a second. BMS Thomas maintained that distance into lap number 2. It all came down to the final lap. On the final lap, 4 corners to go, IQ Zero takes the lead and is leading BMS Thomas into the final straight. BMS Thomas goes full send. You can see nothing but grass in his video feed as he is going full power into the start-finish gate. Both drones collide as they cross the start-finish gate. The timing system says that IQ Zero won by 0.04 of a second. However, a call by race director Joe Scully says that the race is under review. Then starts a series of deliberations amongst the race headquarters staff as to who actually won the race.
It's the last race of the afternoon. Regardless, that was the last race of the afternoon, but that will be under a review.
What? That was it.
With the insufficient evidence to make a determination as to who won the race, it was decided that a rerun would occur, a race-off for the championship for 2022. After the roller coaster of emotions between both pilots, the highs, the lows, the stress of what occurred, BMS Thomas reigned supreme and took the victory in the rerun to be crowned Australia's drone racing champion for 2022. 2 years after that fateful finish, new footage has emerged that may allow us to determine the rightful winner of that race. Dean's Video Reviews is a new Canberra startup designed specifically to review video footage from drone races to ensure the integrity of all races that are conducted. They analyse the video footage with their team of video specialists to determine who won, who lost, and ensure that the right result is gained every time. The footage, recovered by D&E's team of video specialists, appears to have been shot from this grassy knoll. The trajectory, the nature of the crash was able to be viewed from all available angles, and this grassy knoll may unlock the key to this mystery. Thanks for joining us here on the Drone Racing News, Dean. Can you tell us, how did you come across this footage?
Well, when I saw the race happen in person, I just knew that there was something missing, something that would give us the result we were after. And me and my team, we found what we're looking for. An SD card was located on site, and it's just been just what we needed to analyse the footage as we needed to.
And so tonight here on the Drone Racing News, you can reveal the true winner of the 2022 Drone Nationals.
Oh no, it's still largely inconclusive based on what we've published.
What do you mean inconclusive, Dean? That's why we're here. You told us you had a big announcement.
Oh, yeah, so this year's Nationals, Dean's Video Reviews will be offering a 2-for-1 deal. Buy one, get one free, and we'll beat any other price by 10%.
You've got to be kidding me. Well, there we have it. Another unsolved mystery in Australian drone racing.
If that story happened to trigger you, please leave the word trigger in the comments below. Now watch me teleport to another area in the studio to show you the upcoming events around the country on our lovely map. Hello and welcome to the event forecast for August-September 2024. A lot of disarray around the regular schedule this month, for no other reason other than the 2024 Mission Foods Australian Drone Nationals coming to Townsville between Thursday and Saturday, 12th to 14th of September. A lot of disruptions at another club that you'll see shortly here. FPV Rebels, for example, I don't have an outdoor race day seen on their schedule, but they should have indoor Tiny Whoops on Friday the 6th of September. Moving down to New South Wales, Out of Heaven are sneaking in their race day round 9 on Father's Day, 1st of September on the Sunday. And a bit further to the west, Panorama Drone Racing, no regular outdoor race day scheduled for them, but they've got a beginner day coming up on the 8th of September. Moving down to CMRC in Canberra, their outdoor race day is tomorrow morning live on this channel, round 8, tune in for that. And our Tiny Whoops have been brought forward 1 week to Friday, the 30th of August. Down in Melbourne, MMRC should have round 8 on Sunday, the 8th of September, rounding out their regular racing season. But unfortunately for Eastside FPV, no event scheduled there. Log on to their website, go and buy a t-shirt to support them in their rebuild activities. Moving over to South Australia, Adelaide FPV, they do have a race day coming up on Sunday, the 29th of September. Pretty far ahead in the calendar though, nothing between them that I could see. And over in WA, we've got Rotocross in Perth. They've got a rookie day on Saturday, the 24th of August. Now, I know there is another club somewhere in this area, but I can't see the data yet, and when we do, we'll report on it. And the special event, taking a few people overseas, there will be the Military International Drone Tournament for 2024, 16th to the 20th of September, right after Nationals, actually. So we'll be making sure to tune into that after the big event. And that's the event forecast for August, September 2024. 3, 2, 1, clap.
Welcome back to Bugbears, where we discuss the controversial issues that bugbear. Tonight, race results. What is the statute of limitations when it comes to reviewing a race, and can the results be overturned after the fact? This is a highly controversial topic. With more and more clubs around Australia live streaming their events, it opens the opportunity for people to review races after the fact and petition for results that may have seemed final on the day to be overturned. It has seen friendships ended, people quit the sport, and enterprising businesses created to solve this problem. Tim, take us through your thoughts.
Look, I feel there has to be some degree of limitations when it comes to disputes on results. Whilst I admire the effort from Dean and his team with that SD card discovery, I feel there's little value in changing the result of an event that happened like 2 years ago. Is it appropriate to raise a dispute about the outcome of a casual whoop night? How far do we go here? Has any club implemented any rules to deal with this situation?
Well, as you may remember from earlier this year, Tim, we at CMRC put in a rule that made all race results final once the track was packed down. Now, the logic here is that once a track is disassembled, there's no longer a means by which you can do a rerun to correct an unfair outcome.
Yeah, but like, what if someone purposely misses like half a lap, a full lap, just because they got a false read on the timer and just no one noticed it on the day? If it's some serious level of poor judgment there from an individual pilot, surely we can right some of those wrongs of the past.
Well, funny you mentioned that, Tim, because Dean's video reviews was sent in an anonymous tip off to review the final stream of the recent race day at Out of Heaven. Sit back, take a closer look at this one, and tell us what you notice.
Whole shot J-Web 1.81.
You know, the usual. Then second place we've got pit stop. What? Alright, who's coming out on top? We've got J-Web with Wubs following close behind. Possible overtake here. Not quite. J-Web going over the tunnel. Into the barrel roll. Oh, and he's back up.
Wubs FPV
Wubs
lap
has
1 in
just
first.
overtaken him.
Add to cart lap 1 in second.
Wubs is out.
CGO lap 1 in third. J-Web lap 1 in fourth.
Coming in first.
Did you see that? Take a closer look. Let's zoom in on that last lap from J-Web.
Going over the tunnel into the barrel roll. He's back up. Whoops, FPV lap 1 in first. Add to cart lap 1 in second. Whoops is out.
And on that bombshell, we conclude episode 3 of Drone Racing News. If you're going to Nationals, See you there at the sign-in party at Rising Sun FPV on the Wednesday evening. For those watching at home, tune into our live news broadcast from that event as we interview pilots about their thoughts on how they'll go and as we preview the event ahead. Until next time, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.